What would happen if we went one whole day without using any technology? No phones, no computers, no TV, no internet, no TikTok, no Instagram, no Snapchat, no email, no Google Maps. For many of us, including myself, it's hard to imagine a day without our digital companions. But what if we tried? What if we put down our devices and just experienced life as it unfolds around us? What if we allowed ourselves to be present in the moment, fully immersed in the beauty of the natural world, the warmth of the sun on our skin, and the sound of the wind in the trees? It's easy to feel disconnected from nature when our days are filled with the glow of our screens. But what if we used this time to reconnect with ourselves, with each other, and with the planet? What if we allowed ourselves to be inspired by the resilience of the mountains, the fluidity of the rivers, the vastness of the sky? If we truly want to understand the power of nature, we must first disconnect from our devices and allow ourselves to be present in the moment. Only then can we begin to understand the profound connection that we have to the natural world around us. Meet Alexander, a testament to modern interconnectedness. His life, like so many, was meticulously orchestrated by the digital realm. His smartphone was his alarm clock, his news aggregator, his social hub, his personal assistant, his primary source of entertainment, and his last thought before slumber. His laptop, an extension of his professional ambition, rarely slept. His smart home, a symphony of automated convenience. He was, by all measures, a quintessential inhabitant of the 21st century's digital landscape. He wasn't addicted, he would argue. He was simply efficient. He was connected. He was informed. This perception, however, was about to be challenged. Our inquiry into the human-technology nexus led us to propose a seemingly simple task: one full day without any digital device. A return to a world for just 24 hours, where the screen held no sway, and the hum of the server racks was replaced by the quiet pulse of his own existence. Alexander, with a mixture of skepticism and a flicker of curiosity, agreed. He anticipated a minor inconvenience. He could not have anticipated a profound rediscovery. Daylight faded to dusk, then to dark. The sky, a canvas of stars, mocked his predicament. No gentle buzzing in his ear to lull him to sleep. No comforting blue light to lull his racing thoughts into submission. The silence was unsettling, the darkness oppressive. For the first time in years, he felt profoundly alone. No algorithms to feed his desires, no notifications to validate his existence. Just the insistent chirp of crickets and the distant, comforting drone of a nightingale. It was a primal symphony compared to which the city's cacophony was but a discordant roar. He woke without an alarm, his body clocking in a full 8 hours of sleep for the first time in memory. The morning mist on the grass, the nascent blush of dawn, the symphony of birdsong, all were his to notice, to appreciate, to experience. He felt a kinship with the natural world, a connection that transcended the digital ether. He saw the dewdrops on the petals, not as some cutesy, twee thing, but as a testament to the efficiency of nature's design. Each drop a tiny prism, a perfect sphere reflecting a nascent ray of sun. He watched a spider spin its web, an intricate geometric marvel, a testament to patience and persistence. As the day wore on, he found himself enveloped by the rhythm of the natural world. Heeded the call of a blue jay, the rustle of a squirrel, the distant rumble of thunder. He walked barefoot on the dew-kissed grass, feeling its softness yield to the pressure of his foot. A sensation more intimate than any virtual reality could ever hope to simulate. He climbed a tree, its rough bark anchoring him to the earth. From this vantage point, the world stretched out before him, a patchwork quilt of greens and golds and reds, a silent movie playing in the soft light of day. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and rose, he felt a deep sense of peace. It was a day well lived, a life fully engaged. In that one day without screens, Alexander found a world rich, vibrant, and alive. He discovered a connection to nature, to himself, to a life less mediated. It was a day that changed a life, a reminder that sometimes disconnecting is the only way to truly connect. His analog day began not with the gentle chime of a personalized ringtone, but with the jarring clamor of an antiquated alarm clock. It was a sound he hadn't heard in years, a sound that in his mind was forever relegated to the realm of retrofuturism and old black and white movies. The insistent ringing tore through the quiet of the morning, jolting him from sleep. For a moment, he lay still, confused, the unfamiliar sound echoing in his ears. Then, as if by instinct, he sat up and began frantically searching for his phone. His hand, accustomed to the reassuring heft of his smartphone, grasped at empty air. There was a sudden, almost physical jolt of disorientation. Where was his phone? Why wasn't it vibrating with the gentle urgency of a familiar ringtone? Panic, sharp and sudden, pricked at him. He scrambled out of bed, knocking over an end table in his haste, and stumbled into the bathroom. Still no phone, no comforting glow of a screen, no scrolling updates from the world beyond his window. Just the unsettling tick-tock of the old clock on the wall. Each second-hand tick a mocking reminder of his mounting disconnection. He stared at his reflection in the mirror, his own eyes wide and unseeing, and for the first time in years, he had no idea what time it was. Was it morning? Afternoon? The question struck him as odd, as if asking it made him feel strangely alien. He looked around the room, taking in the unfamiliar sights. The phone was gone, but other things were there. Relics from a bygone era of his life. A landline phone with a tangled cord. A radio with a dial. A television with rabbit ears. They were all there, silent and inert, their functions suspended in time. And then, as if emerging from a fog, he began to move, almost as if pulled by invisible strings. He found himself in the kitchen, his domain of habit and comfort. The familiar hum of the refrigerator, the expectant gurgle of the kettle, these sounds anchored him to the present. He moved with a strange, unsettling grace, making coffee. The rich aroma of freshly ground beans filled the air, a luxury he was no longer accustomed to. He remembered. He used to take great pleasure in this, the tactile ritual of grinding, brewing, pouring. But that was then. This was now. And now there was a disconcerting vastness between the grinding of the beans and the final product in his cup. A vastness filled with forgotten skills and unfamiliar sensations. He turned off the burner. The click of the knob, a foreign sound in his ears. What else was there to do? He wondered, lost in the cavernous silence of his now disconnected life. The world, stripped of its digital overlay, felt stark, almost primitive. And in that starkness, he felt profoundly uneasy. There was no gentle chime to signal the start of his day, no soothing voice whispering headlines as he woke. There was only the insistent clamor of an old alarm clock and the disconcerting quiet that followed. As the hours bled into midday, the digital phantom continued its haunting. The urge to just check was a relentless whisper, a habit so deeply ingrained, almost a reflex. Every quiet moment, every lull in thought was a siren call for the digital distraction. Yet, with no screen to turn to, the compulsion slowly, almost imperceptibly, began to lose its potency. He found himself drawn to the window, really seeing the intricate dance of leaves in the breeze, the distant cloud formations. He picked up a book, a physical object whose pages whispered tales of paper and ink, not pixels. His hands, accustomed to swiping and typing, felt clumsy as he tried to sketch in a neglected notebook. The act of writing, the physical connection between thought and ink on paper, felt foreign yet oddly satisfying. He could still hear the phantom's voice, but now it was fainter, a whisper at the edge of his awareness. It was urging him to escape, to find a screen, any screen, and lose himself in the comforting glow. But something unexpected happened. The whispers of the wind through the leaves, the distant song of birds, the rustling of squirrels in the canopy above. These sounds, once muted by his digital soundtrack, were now a symphony. He closed his eyes, letting the music of the moment wash over him. He thought about his daughter, her laughter echoing in his ears. He remembered the feel of grass, the smell of rain on dry soil, the taste of lemonade on a hot day, the sound of his wife's voice, the warmth of her hand in his. A smile touched his lips. These memories, these experiences, they all came rushing back, vivid and real. The digital phantom recoiled as if wounded, its voice fading into a frustrated hiss. With newfound clarity, Alexander stood up. He decided to venture outside, to walk among the trees and clouds, to feel the sun on his skin, the wind in his hair. As he stepped into the great outdoors, the digital phantom's presence evaporated entirely. There was no signal here, no connection, no way to escape into the comforting glow of the virtual world. And in that moment of utter stillness, he was free. Free from the digital shackles that had bound him, he was present, truly present in the vast expanse of the natural world. The absence of digital stimulation wasn't a void, it was an invitation to reconnect with the tangible, the immediate, the wonderfully analog world around him. The afternoon unfurled with a quiet grace previously unknown to him. He found himself in a local park, not multitasking or mindlessly scrolling, but simply observing. The laughter of children playing, the slow, deliberate pace of elderly couples walking hand in hand, the solitary figure sketching beneath a tree. These were not mere background elements. They were individual stories unfolding before him, demanding his full, undivided attention. He remembered a time when such moments didn't just exist in black and white, framed by the rigid boundaries of memory. They were a constant, a rich tapestry woven into the fabric of everyday life. Back then, the world wasn't compartmentalized by notifications, filtered through the lens of a screen. Each day held an organic flow, a natural progression from one experience to the next. A sudden movement across the park caught his eye. 'Twas an old acquaintance from university, someone he would typically offer a quick hello to. A fleeting acknowledgement overshadowed by the more urgent demands of his phone. But today, there was no one pulling his attention in a dozen different directions. Today, he had the luxury of time, of focused awareness. And so the quick hello stretched into a genuine, unhurried conversation. They talked not just about the weather or recent news, but about life, about dreams, about the subtle shifts and profound changes that had occurred since their days together in the hallowed halls of academia. Without the constant urge to check a phone, to calculate the appropriate time to disengage, the interaction deepened. He listened intently, spoke thoughtfully, and found a richness in human connection that had long been diluted by digital distractions. The sun began its slow descent, painting the sky in hues of amber and rose. It was time to head back. He walked slowly, not rushing to reach his destination, but savoring the journey itself. The feel of the sun on his skin, the sound of birdsong filling his ears, the scent of flowers carried on the gentle breeze. Later, in his kitchen, the prospect of dinner presented itself. Typically, this would be a quick affair, a hurried process of online ordering or a takeout on the way home. But today, he found himself chopping vegetables, savoring the aromas, experimenting with flavors. It was a sensory experience, a departure from the quick, often mind-numbing process of digital sustenance. The meal itself, simple as it was, tasted more vibrant, more deeply satisfying. He ate slowly, savoring each bite. The silence of the room punctuated only by the clinking of cutlery and the gentle rhythm of his own breathing. As twilight descended, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, Alexander felt an unfamiliar calm settle over him. There was no late-night binge-watching, no endless scroll into the digital abyss. Instead, he simply sat by the window, observing the stars emerge, listening to the night sounds. A lone dog barked in the distance, a cricket chirp. He picked up a physical book, its pages feeling substantial in his hands, its narrative unfolding at its own deliberate pace. The words engaged him, pulled him into another time, another place. And he read until his eyelids grew heavy, until the lamplight cast long shadows around him, signaling the quiet surrender to sleep. He slept deeply that night, not vaguely aware of the buzzing world of notifications just beyond his perception. The morning after, the digital world beckoned once more, insistent and pervasive. But something had fundamentally shifted. The urgent pull was diminished. The need for constant connection lessened. Alexander had not abandoned technology. Rather, he had rediscovered his own agency within it. In that one day of quiet rebellion, he had reclaimed a part of himself, the ability to choose when to engage, when to disengage, to listen, to observe, to be present. He realized the greatest gift technology offers is not constant connection, but informed choice. The power to connect when he chooses to, not because he feels compelled to. He stepped out into the day, feeling a sense of calm amidst the digital storm. The world was still filled with pings and dings, but now they were accompanied by the soft hum of birdsong. The insistent buzz of technology had faded into the background, replaced by the melody of the natural world.